Hello there, sports fans. ESPN basketball broadcaster Debbie Antonelli of Mount Pleasant is the focus of this week's issue of the Charleston City Paper. We don't do much sports, but you'll learn in this special profile what drives her as the city gets ready for next week's ESPN Charleston Classic basketball tournament. Hello, everybody. I'm Andy Brack, editor and publisher of the City Paper. Thanks for joining us this week. In this week's news section, news editor Skylar Baldwin writes an emotional story about how people hungry in the shutdown will continue to struggle during the coming holidays because they've spent much of their reserves. Reporter Herb Frazier gives an update on what the College of Charleston is doing with a controversial downtown plot of land that it wants to use to build a dorm on, but there are lots of antebellum graves on that land too. On Saturday, be sure to visit Y'all Fest in downtown Charleston to find the greatest and latest books in the nation from authors for young adults. And it's also the last weekend of the Charleston Literary Festival. You can find both have special guides at our website at charlestoncitypaper.com. This week's editorial is a big thank you to community heroes, especially those who are funding efforts to alleviate hunger brought on by the government shutdown. A big shout out to the Coastal Community Foundation and others. You'll also find a column about the impact of recent elections. In food, Helen Mitternight offers an exclusive conversation with food celebrity Andrew Zimmern. In arts, Mara Hogan shares the latest on the 10th Culture Clash, which is scheduled for November 22nd at Building 64 in the Navy Yard. And finally, Vince Harris introduces the first album in more than 2 decades by the Marsh Grass Mamas. Make sure to also enjoy this week's cartoons by Steve Steiglin and Robert Ariel, as well as our weekly crossword and suggestions for fun things to do around town. I'm Andy Brack. Have a great week ahead.